Well, I think we can safely say that this muscovy is a hen because she's gone super broody, haven't you? Now you guys came up with the names for these muscovies before, and the muscovies were named after Harry Potter houses. So now we know this is definitely a girl. I think we will name her Helena, as in Helena Ravenclaw. There is a lovely little hoverfly hanging around my aubergines. And if you didn't know, their babies eat aphids. And she's actually laying eggs because if I go to this leaf, which you can see, there's loads of aphids on. I very gently turn this over. There, can you see that tiny white thing? And then there's another one up here. Hoverfly eggs. So hopefully they will hatch out. They look like little maggoty worm things, but they are insatiable for aphids. So lay hundreds more, please. It is so pretty out today. It's quite cloudy, but actually that means it's quite nice because you're not getting burnt by the sun. However, the pollen is horrendous, so hence the glasses, no contacts. But there are birds singing everywhere. I've just seen some goldfinches with a bit of fluff in its beak, obviously building a nest. There's a greater whitethroat singing up here actually. It's gonna stop. There we go, that's the greater whitethroat. And I think everything's delayed a little bit, so birds are only just starting to nest. But in some ways that's good for me because it means I can continue to sow seeds. So all I can say is, thank goodness this year is a test year, because with the spring that we've had, combined with the new site, if I had to make any decent amount of money this year from stuff, I would be absolutely quaking in my boots because we've had so many issues. The garden is finally getting going. So the straw flowers are finally starting to put on some growth, as are the glads. The sweet peas are finally responding to the heat, and the cornflowers are also finally starting to flower. So you can see there's a couple of spots of flower up there, but really it's so behind what I was thinking we would be at by this stage. So we've got our chard and our kale, and obviously this is last year's chard. It's going to seed. You can see this year's chard, the warmth has made it go crazy now. It's really starting to come off. So is the kale. And then down here we've got our first beds of carrots, beets and radishes, which you can now start to see growth in, which is really, really good. But as I say, everything is mega behind. So I have been sowing more seeds. Again, the seed packets have said you should have directly sowed these in May, and we are now in June. But I'm counting on the fact that the spring is kind of a bit later this year, and maybe we'll get an extended season the other end. So I've got loads of seeds down here in my propagation area. So I have abandoned my my grow room because I got an aphid infestation and it was just killing everything. It was just a nightmare. So yesterday I sowed 300 more zinnias in here, and then we have under here, I need to water them because it's already starting to dry out, but we have Rebecca. I've sowed maybe 300 of them because they're perennials, so they're going to give me flowers year after year after year. And then I did more Gomphrena, I did more amaranth, more nasturtiums. So I really have started loads of things really late, but I'm hoping we'll still get some flower off them. And I just want this patch is growing, it's starting to grow. So I know it can do it, but I will just be a lot more happier and less stressed when actually it's thriving and full of stuff. The other thing I've finally done is I bought a new strimmer. It's a Bosch. It's got a handy little handle like this, and I've been using it mostly to strim out the campsite. I wouldn't say it's amazing. My old one I've had for 20 years, probably 15-20 years. The only difference really is this one has a spool of wire on it, and the other one had the permanent kind of flat discs that you once they snapped you had to replace it. Ironically, the strimmer doesn't seem very good at cutting grass, and I think it's because this just, although it twirls around, you know, grass blades bend, whereas the old rigid plastic pieces just cut straight through it. It's really good at strimming nettles, thistles, the buttercup stems and things, anything that's fairly rigid, but anything that's soft and floppy, it's not that great. The battery life is fairly good though, and I've bought it now, so I will just have to persevere. And again, as I say, it's battery, not petrol. Probably on a massive site like this, I would be better with a petrol one, but I don't want to perpetuate petrol use. I would prefer to have a battery operated item that eventually, when we live here and we have solar panels, it can all be recharged sustainably. So I'm trying to use battery stuff rather than petrol stuff, but I'm not totally thrilled with how this is working. But I've got it, and that's what I'm going to use. And as I mentioned there, mostly I'm using it to strim out the pitch sites on our campsite. I don't know whether I've mentioned it before, but we are setting up a very small campsite this year. The UK government have kind of extended restrictions on unlicensed campsites. So you can now have camping on your land for 56 days. Without needing a license. Now, we don't have a huge amount of infrastructure here. I literally just have a field. We don't even have running water. So I can't offer people loads of mod cons. So it is literally a basis of, we're going to hire in a couple of portaloos. We're going to give people a free bottle of 5-litre water when they, for each booking, and then they can buy more if they want. And we got 20 pitches for 56 days. So it really is kind of a test to see how it goes. I never really wanted to run a campsite, but I can't look a gift horse in the mouth. You know, we could make enough from the campsite to actually pay our year's rent on our property. We've already taken a few bookings, which is really, really good. We're mostly open for just the summer holidays. And literally all I'm doing at the moment is I'm using that strimmer to strim out the pitches and strim out kind of a bit through the field where you can drive, because it is just a wildflower meadow. It's not the wildflower meadow, but it is full of buttercups and things. And I think it's a lovely site. As I say, I never intended on having a campsite, especially because we don't live here. So probably when the campsite is up and running and we have guests, I will also be camping up here just to keep an eye on things. Portaloos isn't my idea of greatness because, again, chemicals. But I didn't want to, while we don't know how it's going to work, I didn't want to spend the money on building proper compost toilets. And the other thing with these regulations is you can have the camping site for 56 days, but afterwards everything is supposed to be cleared away back to its original state. So I didn't want to invest putting in campsite compost toilets, which then theoretically have to be taken down again. And though we could probably get away with it, you don't know who might say something to the council, and then it becomes a huge deal. Again with the water thing, buying in plastic litres of water, again, not ideal. But we are going to say to all the campers, please, once the bottles are empty, return them to us, because I can use those for watering the animals. I can use them as little mini cloches. I thought I was getting bitten by a mosquito, but I'm not. Look. There's this really cool guy down here. You're kind of funky, dude. Please don't mind my my socks and clogs. But yeah, so that's what I'm primarily using this trimmer for at the moment, is this campsite. So I hope it works. I hope it brings us in the cash we need, and I hope it's as low, it should be as low risk, as low maintenance for just 2 months, and bring us in enough for rent. So, and then hopefully that means I can concentrate on the actual farm. So this is our camping field, and I think it's pretty lovely. It's the field that is furthest away from all of our farms, so, and also our neighbours' holiday lets, because we wanted to kind of put it as far away as possible, so there's no crossover, there's no noise. So our animals and stuff are all way over that way. This field also has an access point onto the road just over there, so we can also have a separate access for people, which I think is ideal. So I've been, as I mentioned, I've been strimming in plots. So I'm coming around the edge. I'm going to try and leave the middle like it is because I think it's pretty. So I've been strimming in these pitches. The idea is that's your pitch, you can park your car next to it, and then so I've got 6 coming across here, and then they're going to follow the hedgerow down here. So it takes a while. It's been a few days. I've got to do all the plots, the pitches, and then I've also got to trim out kind of a rectangle circuit around this field of where people can drive the cars. But it's pretty nice. And so hopefully this will work really, really well for people wanting to come and wild camp for a few days.